Hi, I'm Jeremiah Prophet, and welcome to another episode of Prophet's Resurrection Land Cruisers TV. Today we are going to feature this not restored, but actually very special FJ60. That's one of the ones in my personal collection. And while we're at it, we're going to cruise around the shop and look at all of the other 60s we're restoring and various states of modification and work. So let's go. So Jordy, today we're doing an episode about 60 Series Land Cruisers, and we're just talking to people who are working on 60 Series.
Okay.
And you're working on the 60
I sure am.
So we're coming to see what you're doing.
Let's check it out. So we are just finishing some of the final details in this build. Still some bolts that have to go out to zinc, and I had to put a conversion kit in for the LED headlamps that are going in this vehicle. A couple of custom plates are being fabricated to hold a battery tender, and we'll put the battery back in, and we are just about to wrap this beautiful project up.
It's got to go to upholstery, and then we'll get it back and we'll be able to drive it. So it'll be a while before we feature this, because I don't know how long it's going to be at upholstery. We have to take it. It's so hard to get upholstery done, we have to go to a different state. I mean, we have good upholstery shops here in Colorado, but they can't keep up with us. So this one's going to Salt Lake City, and it's going to be really cool, and I'm super excited to see this. I think it's the only blue interior we've ever done on a 60.
Should be great. We're doing full Dyna liner and Dyna matte on the interior. Ought to be quiet and warm and really, really good.
Yep. Jordy said he had to send some bolts to zinc. This is what he means by that. When we start a vehicle, we pick a zinc color. Toyota used tons of yellow zinc early on, and then they went to all clear zinc. But we usually pick a zinc that's going to complement the color of the vehicle. And in this case, we picked yellow zinc. And so if you look throughout the engine compartment and everywhere else, you're going to see that we've yellow zinced the brackets and fasteners and bolts all yellow. Except for right here, these bolts are clear zinc, you'll notice, and that's because we just got them. We just bolted this mesh up, and so we sent another matching set of bolts off so that doesn't look funny, because even though it's pretty, they need to match. Anyway, this FJ62 has been super fun to put together. This is one of our 60 Series Land Cruiser on an 80 Series chassis builds. That's one of my favorite things to do to a 60, because you cannot beat the drivability of the 80 Series chassis and that classic look of a 60. I wish I could put one of these together for myself. Honestly, it would easily be my daily driver. We've done these with lots of different engines, 2Fs with 5 speeds, diesels, Cummins diesels with automatics. In this case, we're doing this one with an LS3 and a 6-speed auto. One unique thing about this build is that we're going with the factory 60 Series bumpers. This is the first one of those we've done. Normally we do an ARB in the front that's been modified, a 60 Series ARB modified for the 80 Series frame, and one of our PRLC rear bumpers modified for the 80 Series frame. But in this case, we went with the 60 Series bumpers. This is my favorite part of putting these back together, is all the little detail work, and you can see that the doors are ready for the door panels. Even all the interior door hardware has been refinished, and then we build these plastic, sort of replica plastic vapor or moisture barriers, and that piece of tape at the bottom, believe it or not, is how they came from Toyota. So that is there just so they match the vapor barrier or moisture barrier that Toyota put in there from the factory. We caught Bob back here. He was trying to hide from us, but I snuck around that side. Todd came around this side, got him. Bob is doing finish up stuff too, just like Jory. Bob, what are you doing on this to finish this truck?
Some buffing detail, like denibbing and final assembly stuff. Vapor barriers, that kind of stuff, getting ready to go to the upholstery shop.
How much buffing do you think we did on this? How many hours of buffing do you think we did on this car?
Probably half a day.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't take out the orange peel. I just, if there's any dust or anything in the paint, I'll just kind of clean that up.
If you cut and buff a car like they would a high-end hot rod,
yeah,
why don't we do that?
That's a very expensive, extensive process. That could take up to several hundred hours, and really not what we're going for look-wise. It's a little too like show car look.
And it makes the paint fragile too.
I don't think it makes it fragile. It just makes it way easier to see the scratches in it.
No. You don't think it's easier to scratch?
No, you can just see them better because it's like so glossy.
So, got it. So
I think you can scratch it just as easy.
But it's more
you can just
noticeable.
see them better. Yeah.
Got it.
It just makes you see the scratches.
Well, anyway, it looks good. It's sad to see them go. When it comes back, we'll be able to feature this truck. Doesn't Alex look like Sonic the Hedgehog? Kinda, in that helmet? He does, he looks like Sonic the Hedgehog. Alex can't hear us. He can't hear us. He's got earbuds in there. Plus he's got his helmet on that filters air for breathing. And so, I'll just be Alex. What Alex is doing is welding out a frame for another FJ62 restoration. This one, the factory frame, not an 80 series frame. But had to do some custom stuff to it. Right here, you can see these plates that we've welded on with nuts welded in them. That's for rock sliders, 4 on each side. So we're gonna put our PRLC bolt-on rock sliders on this 60 series. And you can see the custom engine mounts. These are our engine mounts for a Cummins R2.8, and that's the drivetrain this is getting. Cummins R2.8 and an 8-speed automatic. And if you look back where the transmission crossmember bolts up, you can see that those are the plates that we weld to the frame to accept the transmission crossmember. So he's just doing all the final welding on this, and then it's gonna go to powder coat. Let's go find the body. You see this thing? This is a jack. We could lower this.
Yeah. But then I'll have to raise it again whenever I have to get to the underside. So
you just jumped up there real quick to get a nook or a cranny?
Yeah, got some nooks and crannies to get up in this top edge here.
Casey's much smarter. He has this down where he can actually stand on the ground to work on it.
Sometimes you get that lucky.
Yeah. And I see what you're doing.
Yeah, we're just cleaning out the gutter, because the grain gutters, they seem sealed from the factory, but a lot of times it gets old and cracked and dry, and moisture and water gets in there and starts rusting between the drip rail and the A-pillar, so.
You can kill a 60 roof real easy like that.
Yeah.
Those 60 series that you see that have roof rust issues are because that seam sealer failed and water got in there. This FJ62 body off restoration belongs to the frame you guys saw Alex welding on, and it's in here a little bit behind the other one, getting ready to get all the body work done and get primer and paint. And if you look at the underside of both of these, you're gonna see that they are bare metal. That is a long, arduous process to do, and you don't see a lot of restoration shops going this far on these. They had a reasonable amount of sound deadening goo on the bottom of them from the factory, and you'll see body off restorations where they just sort of keep that and finish over it, but we don't do it that way, and the main reason is there are seams that aren't covered and with the factory goo, and so you want to apply better coating uniformly over the entire thing. Number one, it's just a way better look, especially if you refinish over the factory. It's just got a very inconsistent, bumpy here, not bumpy there, globby sort of look to it, which isn't awesome. If you do this work, take it all down to bare metal, re-seam seal all the seams, and then spray it with commercial 2-part polyurea spray liner like we do, you get better protection, and it's more durable, it's gonna last longer, and it also looks good, and that's really, those things added up make it necessary to do, at least when you're doing them to this level. This 1982 FJ60 is one of the ones in my collection, and it's very special to me. It's special to me because I got it from a friend of mine who passed it along to me a couple of years ago. It was really, really important to him. He owned it for decades, and I hope to do the same thing. It's really important to me. The individual I got it from was Peter Yarrow from Peter, Paul, and Mary. Getting to be where there's not as many people who knows who that is these days, but pretty iconic folk singing band, and lots of famous songs, including Puff the Magic Dragon. So that's what I call this Land Cruiser, is like I call it Puff, and it's not because it smokes, it's just because it's a cool name. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with this Land Cruiser, but it is very important to me that I keep it as close to the way it is as possible. So I know I'm not gonna be restoring it. I know I'm not gonna be modifying it much, but I definitely wanna use it and drive it because because it is what it is. It's an awesome Land Cruiser that's fun to drive. It's an 82. What does that mean? So 1981 was the first year of the FJ60. They went from 1981 to 1987. 81 and 82s had some unique differences though. For starters, there's no rear windshield or window wiper or squirter for that reason. That started in 83 and it was common through the rest of the 60 series all the way up through 1990. So no rear wiper, no rear squirter, no bag right here from where the rear squirter went, and that's pretty unique. And there's two other things I want to tell you about, but comment below with all of the ones that I'm forgetting because I know there's lots of other differences. Let's go inside. So from right here, I see two things about this Land Cruiser that are different, that's different from ones that are 83 and up. One of them is this mushy rubber transfer case shifter boot, and even the texture of the transmission shifter boot. These boots are a different rubber, and visibly the transfer case shifter is just a little bit different, the boot rather, than newer ones. Newer ones were shinier and a little bit harder rubber. This just is like an older thing. And the other interior difference that I know of is that this has a choke cable just like an FJ40 that doesn't light up. And the newer choke cable starting in 1983 has a light inside that lights up when you pull the choke on. There's one more difference I'm going to show you, and it's under the hood. I don't know if FJ60s ever had air conditioning from the factory in 81 or 82, but I know I've seen 3 or 4 that had this York compressor and aftermarket AC, and that's what this one has. It's not OEM air conditioning, it's air conditioning that was added by a dealer, and it's got this is a York compressor that actually it's a Chevy, was used on a lot of old Chevys. Anyway, so it looks really out of place, but this was installed probably when the vehicle was new at a dealership. And if you look at the firewall, you'll see where the expansion valve comes out and all of that dum-dum right there on the, we call that dum-dum. I don't know what you guys call that, but we call it dum-dum. That sort of seals that hole up, and so it's just non-factory AC. And so I think that maybe 81 and 82, it was never offered, but I don't know, tell me if I'm wrong. Anyway, those are the 4 things I can think of. If you can think of other things about specific to an 81 or an 82 FJ60, comment below, because I'm sure there's more than I brought up.
So talk to us a little bit about this vehicle and the gentleman that owns it.
So this vehicle was very special to Peter Yarrow. He had 2 FJ60s, an 81 and this one, an 82. Bought them both when they were 3 or 4 years old, and kept them both at the family home in Telluride. And that's how I got to know Peter, is we maintained the vehicles for them, or we helped take care of them. Every year or two, we'd go get them and bring them to the shop and, you know, make any repairs. And sometimes we did airport shuttles for them as they flew in and out from New York to Telluride. And so, you know, I got to spend some road time with Peter in the car, and had, you know, probably numerous long conversations on the phone. We would always start talking about Land Cruisers, and you know, he was a very easy person to talk to, very just sort of in tune with the universe, right? And had good advice. And so he loved this Land Cruiser. In fact, he believed that this Land Cruiser was a sentient being. He said that it could complain and that it could rejoice, and you know, that he had this sort of deep connection with it. And so when he got older and couldn't go to Telluride anymore because of the altitude, he didn't need both Land Cruisers, and he asked me if I wanted to buy one of the 2. He kind of felt like it was important that it went to a friend and someone who would take care of it. So I let him choose which one, and ended up buying this one. It only has 112,000 original miles, and so mechanically it's in excellent condition, but cosmetically, you know, it's probably never been in a garage a day in its life. It spent most of its time in a pretty harsh environment around Telluride, you know, in the winters there, and even in the summer, you know, a lot of sun in Colorado. So it took its toll on the cosmetic side, but you know, it's such a like a unique vehicle, mechanically great, fun to drive. It just means a lot to me. It's you know, a lot of memories.
So we know that Peter was a, you know, activist and really helped fight for civil rights, and he's been doing that you know, he did that quite a bit by himself and with Peter, Paul, and Mary. You know, what do you think he would think about the political climate today?
You know, I wish I would have had a chance to talk to him about that recently, because I really think, I know that what he would have some insight into it that was very wise, but we share this common bond in this Toyota Land Cruiser. And that was, you know, you can relate to everything through it, sort of. And so, you know, maybe that's what we need to do, is get the Democrats and the Republicans together in a big Land Cruiser and just drive around and reach some common ground. Maybe this is the thing that unites all people, right? All right, so let's rummage. But first of all, look at this. You know, guys, what these are? You know what these are? These are called maps. Maps used to be on paper. And instead of just looking at your phone, you had to stop and pull these out and figure out where you were, and there wasn't even a little dot that was going along with you. You actually had to figure them out. It's Texas. I know there's a map in that door too. So he must have done some driving in Texas. There's Utah, Arizona, New Mexico. This one's a map of Telluride. I bet you that's Colorado map over there, but maps. Peter signed this glove box for me right after I got the rig from him. All right, what do we got? Pair of scissors, some pins, it's a poncho, emergency poncho, and the Telluride Film Festival Paragon Ski and Sport, repairs and warranties, and an envelope. Oh look, a Peter, Paul, and Mary, that's printed right onto the envelope. Cool. So it must have been envelopes that they had printed up to mail stuff to people. There's another Utah, that's another map. Ooh, high-tech power amplifier. There's the original owner's manual, 1982 Toyota owner's manual. I have a collection of these, I love these. Pretty standard glove box fare and some Band-Aids. All right, what's in the center console? Oh, cool. So this is the touch-up paint that used to come with Land Cruisers. It's still liquid. How cool is that? It's the red, this color, Freeborn red, touch-up paint. It's a COVID era, standard COVID era mask in the glove box, so that's a pretty standard. Hot pads. There's a mileage log. Box of matches. You never know when you're gonna need to pull over and start a fire. Uh-oh. You guys know what you used to keep in fill canisters, right?
No.
Some people kept film in them. Oh, it's quarters. I kind of think that people may have kept a little of the marijuana in film canisters. I don't know that. I do not partake. High altitude happiness. Oh, snowboard strap. And just some boring stuff. Combs and pens, and this had the potential to be the most exciting. This is the most exciting. Pretty cool though. Honored to have this car. All right, so I've never done anything like this before, but I'm doing it for this. So I did a reel about the Land Cruiser we're featuring in today's episode the other day, in where I started it on a super cold morning. It was below zero for like 3 days in a row, and I went out there at 8 o'clock in the morning and started it. And it turned out to be a great reel. and it's got a lot of engagement, 191 comments. And I don't know why people have to be trolls. You know, like Joe Rogan says, don't look at the comments, but I want to engage and respond because that's part of how you grow your following on Instagram, so you're forced to read the comments. So anyway, I'm gonna respond to some of the comments on that post on Instagram. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Some of these are just well-meaning. So this guy says, aren't you flooding it? So no, when a car is cold, if you choke it and pump it, and in the reel I say you have to pump it slowly, that's important with a Land Cruiser with the factory carburetor. But 5 or 6 pumps isn't gonna flood it when it's cold, but it will when it's warm. And so you wouldn't wanna do that after the rig had been running for a couple of hours. This guy says, add an electric fuel pump. Well, if the truth of the matter is an electric fuel pump isn't going to help with something like that. There's already fuel in the bowl of the carburetor. That's the fuel that you're using to start the vehicle. If you run out of that, then the fuel pump is going to fill it back up. But initially starting a vehicle, you're dealing with fuel that's already there. So adding an electric fuel pump wouldn't help at all to start the vehicle. And by the way, electric fuel pumps there's a reason why Toyota has mechanical fuel pumps. And it's because the mechanical fuel pumps are better and more reliable. Electric fuel pumps are just annoying, except for a fuel injection. If it's fuel injection, you need one, but it wouldn't help with the mechanical. This guy says, wow, someone with a carburetor. Sorry, it does not work with fuel injection or Teslas. Yeah, it wouldn't pump a Tesla. This guy says my battery is low and dead. It's not. That battery is fully charged and it's a great battery. The reason that it sounds weird in the video is because that car has been sitting in sub-zero weather for 3 solid days. It's basically a block of ice. The oil in it's going to be like thick like honey. The engine's hard to turn over. Crying emoji, buy a newer truck. He doesn't get it, does he? We want these older trucks. And really, we want them stock. I mean, I've got resto mods and stuff with modern engines, and I get that too. But you guys will see the Land Cruiser. I don't know where we're going to put this segment in the video, but the Land Cruiser that we're featuring in this video and the one in that reel needs to stay stock. You would never change the engine or put fuel injection on it. Never. Like, some of these things need to stay pure. This is one of them. All right, so that's our Instagram, and on Instagram we are Pro Cruiser. As a matter of fact, we're Pro Cruiser on X, and I'm gonna start doing a little bit more risque content on X, I think, because that's where you can tell the truth. And we're also, our handle on YouTube is Pro Cruiser. So those are our social media and YouTube channels. Please go check them out. Also, thanks a lot for watching all of our episodes. I love talking to you guys when you call or I see you out at an event or something and you tell me that you watch our stuff. We love making it, and so keep it coming. And also, like and share these. Make sure that you spread the love because, I don't think we get enough people watching these episodes, and so it'd be appreciative if you would share them. Anyway, that's it. My wife, by the way, she's not here. She's pregnant. She's like almost 9 months pregnant. She might be giving birth right now, so I better get out of this episode and go check on her. Thanks for watching.
All right, so we are rolling and action.
Hi, thanks for...
Been a while.
Too long. Been too long.
All right. Whenever you're ready, action.
Hi, I'm Jeremiah, and this is Prophet Rezanushka. This is our first...
Rezanushka?
This is our... Yeah, Nushka. So it's Russian disinformation episode.
Gotcha.
Yeah.